Baby books don't get a ton of respect because they're primarily about cows, are about 60 words long each, and have art that looks like it was made by someone with too many thumbs. Because I have 2 young kids myself, I read about 30 of these things a day. Probably not coincidentally, I also think about 30 times a day. I could do that. And I'm an idiot. And yet some of these books are way worse than others. Any idiot might be able to make one, but clearly some idiots know something their peers don't at avoiding wretchedness when writing books for infants. I suspect the key is that some idiots realize that baby books are meant for a split audience, a child who looks at the pictures and a parent who has to read the words again and again and again. These two audiences have different tastes and needs, and satisfying both at the same time is evidently a pretty subtle art. It's not just clumsy rhymes about poultry. Those are necessary, yes, we crave them. But there's more. Because I know many of you are idiots with too many thumbs and rhymes about poultry, eager to make a quick buck or prove something to everyone who doubted you. I thought I'd lay out some of the more common missteps authors seem to make when making baby books. Who knows, with these tips, you might one day become the next celebrated Dr. Seuss yourself, instead of the shameful Mr. or Ms. Seuss you currently are. Many baby books rhyme, and for good reason. Babies love picking up patterns and learning to anticipate the rhyming word before it happens. Also, these books are meant to be read aloud, and rhymes generally make that more fun. Or tolerable. Yeah, let's go with tolerable. But it takes more than rhymes to make words fun to read aloud. There are long and elaborate definitions of the things required, but it basically requires an understanding of rhythm and meter, counting syllables, and something about stressed or possibly chilled out syllables. It's involved. If you don't understand this stuff, people reading your writing will stumble and stutter or abruptly speed up to reach a rhyme which is just miles from where it should be. I see this most often in homemade or self-published children's books, stuff clearly made by amateurs who thought I could do that, and I'm an idiot too. But it shows up in professional books as well every now and then, as if the people who made them had something better to do than read them 50 times in a row like a normal par. Oh my god, what am I doing with my life? Rhymes aren't the only way to establish repeating patterns in books. There can be objects and characters that show up at regular intervals. Or every page can have a repeating bit of dialogue, a sort of call and response. Even the rhyme scheme itself doesn't have to be static. Simply switching from AABB to a bob to the ace of spades. The ace of spades at intervals can be pleasing. Dr. Seuss was great at this.